For over 80 years, Nellis Air Force Base has been critical to developing fighter pilots who deliver lethality and air power around the globe, with a rich history that began with training pilots during World War II in the immediate aftermath of the attack on Pearl Harbor. Today, this historic base continues to play a vital role in the Department of Defense mission to achieve peace through strength. So get ready for air power. Fights on. Day 2 of the 2025 Aviation Nation Air Show starts right now. Hey, everybody. Welcome into our broadcast position near Air Show Center on this gorgeous Sunday morning, ready to get things kicked off here on the final day of flying. I'm Dan Hawkins from the United States Air Force Public Affairs Team. Delighted to be joined by my partner, Senior Master Sergeant Caitlin Jones-Martin. How are you?
I'm doing great, Dan. Excited for day 2. We're back. We're better than ever. Less wind. Fans are already filing in here, and we're so excited to be at the home of the fighter pilot and celebrating 50 years of Red Flag. Now, yesterday we heard that there was a little bit of confusion with the bus situation coming over.
All worked out.
It's all worked out. People are here. The buses are running smoothly. So if you're still thinking about coming out here to Aviation Nation, bring it on down. You got plenty of time.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. This year's Aviation Nation theme is Heroes in Aviation, and this weekend we will honor a celebration of courage, innovation, and the indomitable spirit of flight. From a local hero, Lieutenant William Nellis, who was a World War II pilot who paid the ultimate sacrifice over Europe and ultimately had the former Las Vegas Air Force Base named in his honor in 1950. But there are so many other heroes in aviation, both past and present, from General Hap Arnold, the founding father of the Air Force, to Chuck Yeager, who broke the sound barrier for the first time, to the Doolittle Raiders, General Jeannie Leavitt, a former 57th Wing Commander here at Nellis. The list goes on and on. We're humbled to be here, Caitlin, and really grateful for all that they have done. And great that they're being honored this weekend.
Absolutely. Heroes in Aviation. We hope that you'll come out and honor them as well, as you were just taking a look there at the Clydesdales as we get ready for opening ceremonies at Nellis today. But there's also a few ways to tune in and get a front row seat to all the action. This year's show is streaming live on the 57th Facebook page and on airforce.com. We're also on the Defense Visual Information Distribution Service and on all local Las Vegas News Channel apps.
Yeah, we were all over the country yesterday. That was really cool, so hopefully we'll be there again today.
And before we get into all that good stuff, we just want to go over a few air show do's and don'ts for all of you that are planning to stop by and check out the action on day 2 of Aviation Nation. Team Nellis is proud and happy to have you as our guest, and there is an amazing group of airmen and civilians working hard to make your visit safe and enjoyable. With that, we know many of you are planning to visit. Please pack your patience along with the sunscreen. The team here is making every effort to minimize delays entering and leaving the show. The show is free. Parking is free. Everyone out here that's working this weekend is a volunteer. So this is a huge effort here for Nellis Air Force Base to basically open up their doors and let the public come on and see what the U.S. Air Force does every single day.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't point out this is a military installation, so base officials do ask for your cooperation in keeping dangerous items off the installation. All bags will be quickly inspected, and all individuals are subject to search. It's good to know before you enter and before you come in through the air show gates.
The following list of prohibited and permitted items will ensure that you have a hassle-free and safe experience at the air show. Basically, a little bit of planning ahead is going to get you a long way. We have water stations throughout the event. They're available, so we encourage you to bring your reusable water bottles. They just have to be empty when you come in. Bring your chairs, something to sit on, strollers, wagons, all of that permitted and encouraged here at Aviation Nation. And I would say, maybe a hat, if I could suggest that today, Dan.
There's always judgment in the crowd. It's because my forehead is so red. But parking, though, it is free. It's at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Buses running before and after the show. So once you're on base, there's also a tram that runs in the air show boundaries as well. So if you need some help, there's certainly help to be had.
Absolutely. Now let's get to the action. what we're all here for, the ground and in the skies here in Nevada, scheduled to appear over the weekend. We've got the F-22 demo team. We've got P-51 Mustangs. Yes. We've got Warbirds. We've got the F-18 Hornet TAC demo team. And, of course, the Las Vegas hometown faves, the Air Force's premier aerial demonstration team, the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds, and many more aerial and ground displays. So we call them static ground displays, but really just what that means is you're able to get up close and personal with so many military and civilian aircraft. We've got Dan's favorite, the A-10 out here. We've got the MQ-9 Reapers from right up the road at Creech Air Force Base, an F-15 Eagle. And, you know, a lot of people were saying yesterday there was supposed to be a C-5. I want to see a C-17. And I do want to tell people that these are all active military aircraft for the most part. They're assigned to wings around the nation and around the globe. And sometimes they have real-world missions. So our Air Mobility Command assets, the C-5 and C-17, not able to be here at Aviation Nation, but that's just because they're going out and getting some real-world time in.
24/7, the Clydesdales just rolling by, no big deal. Of course, we're in Vegas, so, you know, that's nothing unusual, right? Just so you know, too, STEM City is here. Science, technology, engineering, and math, so important. Obviously, that'll be on full display here as well. So a lot to see and do here, Caitlin. And we also have, just like yesterday, an interview to jump us off right off the top. The 99th Air Base Wing leadership is here. And so we heard yesterday from General Sullivan and Chief Trickey. Today it's going to be Colonel Glenn and Chief Warren. But they are one of the busiest wings in town, responsible for installation support for Nellis Air Force Base, Creech Air Force Base, the Nevada Test and Training Range. The 99th Air Base Wing takes care of roughly 10,000 personnel to account for all the missions here at Nellis. So they're very busy, and we're delighted to have them today.
Absolutely. So we're excited to introduce the command team for the 99th Air Base Wing, Colonel Jason Glenn, and his partner, Chief Master Sergeant Adrian Warren. Sir, Chief, thank you so much for stopping by.
Well, it's a privilege to be here with you all today. What a great event.
Yes, so great. And I know the 99th is pretty much primarily responsible for making sure this show goes off without a hitch and all the installation support is in place. So tell us a little bit about what the 99th does here at Nellis Air Force Base.
So as you mentioned, I'm Colonel Jason Glenn, and I'm originally from Sanger, California, not too far away from here. But what the 99th does is I am the installation commander here at Nellis Air Force Base, as well as the Nevada Test and Training Range. What that means is we're responsible for everything that it takes in terms of base operating support to keep the planes in the air and the airmen doing their work all around the base. So that includes all the logistics, all the facilities and infrastructure, first responders. We have a full hospital here with our Diamondback medics who keep us all healthy. And so it's a big responsibility, but it brings a ton of opportunity, and it's very rewarding day in, day out.
Absolutely. Chief Warren, tell us a little bit about what the command chief of the 99th looks like. What's a typical day for you, ma'am?
Well, hello. I'm honored to be here. So Chief Master Sergeant Adrian Warren, I'm a native Texan, and I have been Colonel Glenn's teammate for coming up on a year now. I'm 2 years in the seat by the time I hit the summer. So as my boss's command chief, my job is to be his senior enlisted advisor on all things people-focused, mission-ready, all things quality of life advocacy, developing our future leaders. So my day could be a variety of things, but it's all focused on airmen and readiness.
There's really no typical day when you're at an Air Base wing, right? There's always something going on. Colonel Glenn, I know that you're an Academy grad, correct?
I am.
All right. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to join the Air Force Academy and then commission and obviously stay in a few years.
Yeah, so I am an Academy grad, and as it happens to be the class of 99, so there's a great parallel with the 99th Air Base Wing. But, you know, it was really about that education that it was the initial draw for me, world-class education at the Air Force Academy. But to your question, you know, it's people come in for a variety of reasons, and that's so much less important than why you stay. And so what I found is, even though maybe I intended at the beginning to serve my initial commitment and do something else, it was the rewarding work, the unity of purpose that we all have that over time, quite honestly turned into a calling for me. And so that was the initial reason. But the reason I stayed is the men and women I served with, why we're doing this, all of those sort of higher order reasons.
Yeah, and Chief, I'm sure maybe somewhat similar for you. I mean, you don't join the Air Force one day and go automatically, I'm just going to be the command chief of a huge base in the middle of Nevada in Las Vegas. So what inspired you to join? And like Colonel Glenn, what inspired you to stay?
So I joined the Air Force in the late 1900s, 1997. So rewinding back, I was 18 years old, senior in high school, knew I needed to do something, but college wasn't in my immediate future. A recruiter came to my high school, and fast forward, I was on delayed entry program, came in as services troop, and my reason and my sense of why has evolved over the years. And I'll be honest, the first 4 years, I was just going to do what I had to do and return back to Texas. I felt that this wasn't my calling, but as Colonel Glenn mentioned, your sense of purpose and what you're exposed to, and just sense of service to our country, deployments, and just all the experiences and locations, it just all wraps up to, yes, I'm in. And I'm coming up on 28 years in July, so time has definitely flown by, but by far the best decision I've ever made.
And Caitlin and I talked this morning, actually, we were talking about how once you enter the door of the Air Force, you just become a different person.
You do.
And your interests change, and the world that you're exposed to has changed. Can you maybe talk to that about the opportunities that are available in the Air Force?
Absolutely. And, what I like to say is when I'm talking to especially people who have just joined is the Air Force will really teach you and help you become the person the airman and the person that you're capable of being. And those opportunities, many of which I look back on now and I would have never seen for myself or known I'd been doing those. As an example, I was a defense legislative fellow, so I worked for a member of Congress in the Senate for a period of time, wearing a suit to work every day. That's just one of many opportunities that, a kid from Central Valley, California wouldn't have even associated with the Air Force at all. And a variety of deployment opportunities in seeing, dozens of countries around the world and working there and just learning. And as a lifelong curious person, it's been extraordinarily rewarding. But what I tell people who are coming in, and many of you watching may be thinking about potentially serving in the military, and what I encourage all people who are coming in is whether you plan to stay in for a single enlistment or do it for a career, treat it like a career from day one. And because that'll pay you back time and again, you'll have more training and you'll be prepared for whatever you decide to do with the rest of your life. And so that's kind of the short of it.
Absolutely. When you talk about joining and getting more information, all of that available on airforce.com. We're also streaming live there, so go and check that out. Chief, it makes me kind of smile because I have a very similar story to you. Joined at 18 from a very small town in Texas, and I had no idea that this career field existed in the Air Force. I joined as a broadcast journalist, so I was actually trained how to do this. The Air Force gives you the skills for the job that you sign up for. But there are some traits that it helps. So as a command chief now, what kind of trait are you looking for in younger airmen these days?
Well, first of all, I would say open-mindedness, because you don't know what you don't know. This is a huge shift in your life, and just being open-minded and just ready for what comes. I wouldn't have known that I would have been serving 28 years. And I will say my view of military service has evolved over the years, but I'm thankful that I was open-minded. It is a team sport. So, we don't get to these positions without a lot of people investing and seeing something in us that maybe we didn't see at the time. And just that sense of purpose and being able to take guidance. Right? You have to be open-minded, and people have the best interests at heart for you. And whatever your job is, you do it to the best of your ability, and you'll never regret that.
Yes, Chief, absolutely. Some great advice there, some pearls of wisdom. And if you're thinking about maybe joining the Air Force, come out to Aviation Nation, right? You're going to meet a lot of different airmen in a lot of different career fields. You're going to see a lot of different capabilities. And I know you guys have such a great community here around Nellis Air Force Base here in Nevada. So sometimes they call you, I think it's the mayor of Nellis. Is that what it is? Colonel Glenn, can you kind of speak to what that means?
It's a fair analogy, and you know, there's a lot that it takes to keep the planes flying, as I said, and so you're talking about a pretty massive logistics operation that takes place every day. There's a lot of people on the line, on the fence line, you know, providing security and defense. There's a host of community service things that we do, all the things that it takes to be an airman in the personnel system and getting from assignment to assignment. So the chief and I are responsible for all of those details that allow people to do their primary job. You may have noticed that I'm not wearing a flight suit. I came up through the civil engineer community in the Air Force, and so there's probably one of the most common questions that I get from people when they find out I'm in the Air Force is, what do you fly? And it's a good opportunity to highlight that there's a variety of career fields that are rewarding and are very important, and some people are not able to fly for various reasons, medical and others, and so we have a spot for you. We have a spot for you to serve and contribute in a way that works for you and that inspires you every day.
And what's the value of the relationships as the mayor that you've built with the community? I've saw on the screen all kinds of community outreach events that airmen get the opportunity to attend, but there's so much value in having those strong relationships with the community. There's no question about it. And, you know, if you don't have the support of the community, it makes everything more difficult. And ultimately, if you take that to the next level, the Air Force and the military, we need the support of the public to be able to do what we do. And here we enjoy just a phenomenal relationship with the local community. I have a saying that I use pretty often, that this place is every bit as electric as Las Vegas, with all it takes to keep things going here at Nellis Air Force Base. And it's really one of it's a singular place, in my opinion, where the most elite people in their craft come to train in their craft, develop tactics, etc. But that support of the community is really strong, and you're talking about from the elected leaders. There's our professional sports teams. The list really goes on. We have a lot of partnerships with our medical community, where we have people working with the University Medical Center and other the Veterans Affairs Hospital and others. So those partnerships are really, really important. And when you look at we depend on the community for a lot of the services that we have coming in. Whether it's electricity and a variety of other things that come into play. So you heard it here first. This is the best show in Vegas, right here at Nellis Air Force.
And it's free.
And it's free today, too. I love it.
Indeed.
Yeah. Just for Sunday. Just for Sunday. Just for you, Dan. Chief, you mentioned that you're coming up on 2 years here at Nellis Air Force Base. So kind of speaking to Colonel Glenn and the experience that you guys have in the local community, what's maybe a highlight that sticks out to you, Chief?
Well, as a person that's never been into sports, I should be a Cowboys fan, but, family don't hate me. I will say just some of the things that I never thought I'd be able to do and just witness by way of sports. It kind of rises to the top. Being able to enlist airmen on the field before a Raiders game, flipping a coin at a UNLV game, just some of the really cool things gives me a greater appreciation for the community and sports. Yay, sports.
Go Raiders. I love it. I'm thrilled.
Thank you both so much for joining us. We know that you're so busy, and so having you stop by and tell us a little bit about what you do here at the 99th, it's truly just such a mega lift. So please pass along your thanks, our thanks to everybody who's out there working the event this weekend and keeping us all safe. We've got, like Colonel Glenn mentioned, we've got medical here that is making sure that if there's any emergencies, you've got security forces. So basically the Air Force's version of law enforcement working the gates, and those are mostly 99th Airmen, so we want to tell them thank you. So please pass that along for us.
Indeed we will. It's great to be with you.
All right, y'all have a good day.
Yes. And as we heard, we're just about 15 minutes from showtime here at Aviation Nation. Day 2, the final day. But even though we've got about 15 minutes left to go till opening ceremonies, you still have time to come out. And parking at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, buses running super smooth today. So come out and you can enjoy everything that we have to offer here.
I just want to foot stomp. I mean, so great to talk to Colonel Glenn and Chief Warren. I mean, again, kind of like General Sullivan yesterday and Chief Trickey. I mean, outstanding leadership here at Nellis as you look at a C-130 taken to the skies here. So good to see aircraft back in the sky here. Day 2 of this Aviation Nation Air Show. Dan Hawkins and Caitlin Jones-Martin. And we should foot stomp too. Drink your water. It is warm. I mean, I felt a trickle of sweat already. It's going to be a little warmer today than it was yesterday.
It definitely is going to be a little bit warmer. I think the high today looking at 79 here in the Vegas Valley. So, and there is 0 wind today. So whereas yesterday we had pretty breezy conditions, absolutely no wind out here today. So we will see Misty Blues jump to start off the show. That is the all-women's skydiving team. So we will see them jump today during opening ceremony. So very cool aerial display as we watch that C-130 taking its laps around Nellis Air Force Base.
We talked about it in the open, but there are heroes in aviation being honored this weekend as part of the theme there. General Hap Arnold, founding father of the Air Force back in 1947. What a shot. I mean, imagine those airmen today and really their heritage being on display here this weekend in Las Vegas. And it's just an awesome tribute to all the heroes who really have made us America's, air and space forces, and we're the world's best because of all these folks on your screen. The Doolittle Raiders, there's Chuck Yeager, who broke the sound barrier. I mean, the list just goes on and on. I'm always in awe.
Absolutely. And, we talk about heroes of the past and how they're influencing the heroes of today. Talking to General Robin Olds' daughter yesterday was such a thrilling moment for us. You're looking at General Jenny Leavitt, who was a former 57th Wing Commander here at Nellis. So it really spans the entire expanse of the United States Air Force. And all of that is what we're paying homage to this weekend for Aviation Nation. There's our guy, General Robin Olds.
With the stash.
That legendary mustache. He actually grew that as a one-finger salute, as his daughter told us yesterday. So I love that. What a renegade. It was so much charisma that he led with and just continues to inspire airmen of today. And that is what we're honoring here at Aviation Nation. So you're going to see all services represented, even though we're an Air Force team. Got to give it up for our brothers and sisters in all the services. There's Marines out here with the Osprey. You've got the Navy brought a trailer out here that you can kind of do some simulations in. So much cool stuff to see. The Army's got equipment out here. So definitely come out. You can get hands-on with a lot of our static displays, and it's really just spanning the entire ramp here at Nellis Air Force Base. So just a huge amount of space to go out.
And a lot of those civilian partners that Colonel Glenn and Chief Warren talked about are out here. I saw both the Metropolitan Las Vegas Police Department, the North Las Vegas Police Department, a few veterans organizations. So stop by and visit with them at their booths. I mean, there's so much information that you can get and maybe opportunities to do different things.
And we have mentioned that the show is free and parking is free, but once you get in here, there is food available, there are drinks available, souvenirs, but it is an entirely cashless event. So bring your tap to pay, bring your cards, and get yourself a churro. I think we're going to send one of our airmen from the 2nd Audio-Visual Squadron out a little bit later in the day to tell you about all the cool snacks going on here at Aviation Nation. So we'll have Senior Airman Jada Mailer just roaming around as our airmen on the street to report back on everything.
I think she got the better end of this deal.
Listen, Dan, you know your knees couldn't take roaming around Aviation Nation. We got to keep them
down for some churros, though. I'll never turn that down.
Maybe we'll get Dan. We'll get Dan a churro later on in the show. Okay. Only if you're good, Dan. So we're gonna have the Misty Blues all-women's skydiving team coming up here in just a few minutes as we get ready for opening ceremonies here at Aviation Nation. And we've also got a full schedule of guests that are going to stop by. We've got some more leadership from the 57th Wing that's going to come by today. We're going to speak to a local recruiter out of southern Utah, so that is going to be really cool. Super excited to talk to him about kind of what he sees in the recruiting world as far as if people want to join the Air Force. We're going to dispel some myths maybe about the recruitment process.
Bustin'. All right, I like that.
Absolutely. And also we hope to have a hometown hero, if you will. So we're talking about heroes in aviation, but we've also got a hometown hero as well, the Nevada State Teacher of the Year. Yes, I did get, I got some feedback yesterday, some straight feedback, which we love. Chief was just talking about be open-minded and willing to take feedback. Nevada, not Nevada.
That's some real talk right there.
Some real talk. We're here for it. Absolutely. As we get ready here at Aviation Nation. And I think we are going to have another special guest coming by in just a few moments from now. These amazing aerial displays over the Vegas Valley. Right now, one of the enlisted members that makes it happen here at Nellis Air Force Base every day, the senior enlisted leader for the 57th Operations Group, Chief Master Sergeant Jamie Weisner. Chief, thanks so much for stopping by and chatting with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the opportunity for having me. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So can you tell us just a little bit about your background and what it is you actually do at the Operations Group?
Absolutely. So I am the 57th Operations Group senior enlisted leader. I've been on Nellis for about 2 years on station, and the 57th Operations Group is in charge with making sure that we are the home of advanced training here for Nellis. The 57th Operations Group has 10 squadrons and 4 detachments across 6 different states. And our job is to make sure that the red flag exercise takes shape. We have three squadrons that are dedicated for the green flag exercises as well. We have 4 squadrons that are dedicated to make sure that all the exercises, to include red flag, like Bamboo Eagles, and all of our weapon school exercises take place. We have a 4th gen fighter aggressor squadron. We have a 5th gen. We have a cyber team. We have a surface to air threat. All of that to replicate and make sure that we have the environment to have the advanced training here on Nellis. On top of that, we also have a TACP university, so that's the Tactical Air Control Party. They teach 11 courses along with the TACP formal training unit that is taught between here and San Antonio, Texas. And on top of all that, we also have the operational support squadron that is in charge of the airfield, air traffic controlling, all the sensors and weather systems throughout the 16,000 square foot miles that we have here for the test and training ranges here as well. A little bit about my background and why I love being here at Nellis is as a Tactical Air Control Party member, I have been through multiple exercises for green flag exercises. I've jumped in part of red flag exercises. I've been through multiple courses, obviously for the TACP schoolhouse that we have here. So being able to come back and to be able to teach and explore some of that experience and knowledge and everything of what I've been able to do for these past 25 years, and to make sure that the next generation of the airmen have all the training that they need, making sure that they can also kind of go through those rigors to make sure that they are getting the training and stuff that they need to make sure that as we are pushing it out, because obviously we all know that that the battlefield is going to be extremely complex in the future. We're trying to make sure that we are providing the most advanced training platform here on Nellis.
So I just heard that the 57th OG has their fingers in just about anything that happens in Nellis. That's what I heard.
Absolutely, yes. It's there is always stuff going on here. It's a fantastic place to be, especially as a TACP. There are always things going on. All of this fantastic air power that like the Air Force can bring and the Joint Force can bring. It's one of those things that we actually have a green flag exercise that's going on right now, and like part of that is making sure that we can bring in all of our joint partners, all of our coalition forces. Right now we have UAE, Saudis, and the like Turkish Air Force here as well. We also have their controllers, their like air crews and stuff to make sure that we can combine and do all of that close air support training, so we can make sure that as a joint force, as a coalition force, we have all the training that we need to continue moving forward. And it's awesome.
So what I hear is Chief isn't busy at all.
Yeah, no, nothing going on.
So you mentioned your background as a TACP, and that in and of itself is just a kind of a rare career field. There's not a lot of you in the Air Force. So can you tell us a little bit about what led you to join the Air Force and specifically how you got into TACP?
Oh, absolutely. So it's a rather interesting story. So I started out actually my career as a civil engineer. I was here stationed at Nellis just over 20 years ago. I was up the road at the Red Horse Squadron. I would always see, and I was jumping at the time, and I would always jump with the SEER guys and the TACP guys. And it was just one of those things. It was a mission that always like fascinated me. And then I started going through the process in 2007. I graduated in like early 2008, and it's been a fantastic voyage ever since. And it has been an incredible amount of time, and especially to be able to come back to Nellis, where it all started, where I kind of made my mind of this is exactly what I want to be doing for the Joint Force, and it's been phenomenal. So yeah, it's great.
Speaking of jumping out of perfectly good airplanes, I believe the Misty Blue skydiving team has just jumped to kick off our show. Awesome. So we are going to head over and take a pause for the national anthem and give it over to the Aviation Nation Air Boss. We are here on day 2.
Deserves. Effectively, because they are flown under canopy, it is considered a banner. But know that every effort will be made to ensure it does not touch the ground for any longer than it needs to. Our lead American flag today coming in at some 1,800 combined square feet. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are within the sound of my voice and you are able, if you would, please stand and come to attention as we welcome Staff Sergeant Alicia Council in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
ladies and gentlemen, how about a big round of applause for Staff Sergeant Alicia Cancel and the singing of our national anthem. And let that extend to that of Amanda Scheffler, Joe Beck, and Sarah Burris of the Misty Blues. With our first 3 jumpers safely on the ground.
As we watch Misty Blues deliver the Stars and Stripes here to Show Center and a beautiful national anthem, hanging out with the 57th OG SEL, that is Senior Enlisted Leader, Chief Wisner. So Misty Blues skydiving team, they're also jumping out of perfectly good airplanes, which you mentioned that you do as well. You know, I've never done it. Dan's done it. But can you just tell me about, like, what that moment is like when you just finally, like, you have to commit, you have to full send?
Yeah, absolutely. So I wish I can tell you that I remember my first jump, but I honestly don't. It was one of those things where you're just following all the orders and doing what you need to be doing. And it was a great feeling to finally hit the ground and make sure that everything's still in place and everything. And then after that, it just became a source of trying to get to work. And that's just what it is. It's another set of tools that allows us to be that allows us to have better ways of insertion and so on and so forth. So it just became part of the job. I was stationed out at Fort Bragg for about 8 years. We did a lot of jumping out there, and it was a great time. And it's one of those things that it's just essentially just how we got to work, and it was awesome. It was great.
And also an opportunity for you to work in that joint environment as well.
Absolutely, yes. Being on Fort Bragg is one of those things that, you know, a lot of people don't necessarily like that area, but it was a great assignment. I was there, as mentioned, almost 8 years, and it was one of those times where making sure that you're making those relationships with other branches and everything, and just kind of seeing how we all mesh together, and it's fantastic. Absolutely.
Absolutely. If somebody is watching at home and thinking about coming out to Aviation Nation today, what would you tell them, Chief? Just give us our pitch for why they should come out and check out the air show here at Nellis.
You should absolutely come out and see what Aviation Nation is doing, because it's one of those things where you get to see what maybe 1 or 2% of us get to experience. And it's one of those things that it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Being able to have seen a lot of this aircraft do this stuff in real life downrange, it's one of those things that we want to be able to share. I have my family here and stuff, and it's one of those things that we want to be able to share with everybody. So I know that everybody out there that is interested in this has at least some kind of flavor that's involved with this, and this is probably the best way that you're going to get some kind of exposure to it, and it's fantastic.
It really is. And, you know, we mentioned earlier that most of these aircraft here, military aircraft, you know, they're assigned to real wings and real missions. And then, honestly, it goes for the Thunderbirds, too, because if the need arises, they can flip these aircraft and personnel and integrate into the flying squadron here at Nellis and be ready to go to deliver that combat lethality.
In 3 days.
Yeah, 72 hours. So absolutely incredible what you guys do here at the 57. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Yeah, that was great. Chief Wisner, we appreciate your time. And, you know, so much to see and do. Chief Wisner, tons of experience, just like all the leaders that we've had an opportunity to talk to here at the Nellis Air Force Base. Flight line day 2 of this 2025 Aviation Nation Air Show. And the opening ceremonies are in the books. We've had the national anthem. The Misty Blues have jumped in. They are incredible. And we have a lot more going on. Of course, the day, lots of flying. I can't wait for some fast movers to hit the air. We got our favorites. Bill Stein, Vicki Benzine are here. Red Bull Air Force is here.
And I think we're actually going to get a shot inside some of the aircraft today. So you're going to actually see what these pilots are doing during these incredible acrobatics. So I definitely want to make sure that we recognize the incredible airmen of the 2nd Audiovisual Squadron. So every shot that you see today behind that camera is a young airman here from the 2nd Audiovisual Visual Squadron at a Hill Air Force Base. These are active duty members, and they do an absolutely incredible job bringing these pictures to you live on Facebook, airforce.com, and on all the local Las Vegas News Channel apps. So we've been talking about it all weekend. Only 0.4% of the American population is currently serving in the armed forces, and these airmen behind the camera at 2nd Audio Visual Squadron are part of that 0.4%. And honestly, it's not an easy job making Dan Hawkins look and sound this good.
Speaking of looking good, that's a C-130 flying through the air here in Nevada. And we're going to pitch it out to the Air Boss. We'll be back with some more interviews. I think some Thunderbirds might be stopping by back after this.
Air Force Base in Tucson, Arizona. It is being flown today by the pilots, Major Jonathan Kodiak Ford, Captain Kevin Ray Rivera, Combat Systems Officer Captain Joshua Knife Mannix, and the Loadmaster Technical Sergeant Josh Trapnothy. From the right, here it is, the HC-130J Combat King 2. The HC-130J is the Air Force's only dedicated fixed-winged personnel recovery platform. It specializes in tactical profiles and austere environment conditions, including that of helicopter air-to-air refueling for the mission of Combat Search and Rescue, or CSAR. One of the Air Force's newest variants of the mighty Hercules, it is one of the longest implementations of any cargo aircraft in history, with the production line continuing to this day. We want to extend a very big thank you to the 34th Weapons Squadron for flying today's jump platform. A very big round of applause for them. Well, it is so great to look out and see so many of you joining us on this beautiful Sunday morning for Aviation Nation 2025. In just a moment, we're going to be recovering the HC-130J as our aerial action continues to get us started here on what's going to be a splendid flying display of some very impressive performers and aircraft. In just a few moments, we're going to be welcoming to our show pilots Stephen Christopher and Todd Rudberg, and they come together to create that of the Undaunted Air Show's team. Over the course of the next couple of minutes, we are going to see a performance of formation aerobatics and opposition flying inspired by the legendary aerobatic teams of the U.S. Navy Blue Angels, the Air Force Thunderbirds, and the Royal Canadian Forces Snowbirds. Flying their two Vans RV aircraft, some of the most popular and successful lines of home-built experimental aircraft, we're about to see this display by these two gentlemen in one of the most, highest tempoed air show routines on the circuit. This team was founded back in 2020 when Stephen and Todd were working to refine their formation skills. And what began as a simple formation loop evolved into a complex series of maneuvers, eventually leading to the development of a full air show routine. Today, the Undaunted team is known for shredding the box with their high-speed passes, formation maneuvers, and synchronized aerobatics. Stephen Christopher is in the lead aircraft as they take the inboard runway as our Combat King 2 recovers out there on runway 03 right. Stephen Christopher, call sign Christo, the lead pilot, brings a wealth of aviation experience to the team. He has spent some 17 years flying bush planes up in Alaska and has developed a deep passion not only for aviation but for building aircraft as well. This, an RV-7 he built himself. He later competed at the National Championship Air Races, and he has over 3,000 hours of flight time. Todd Rudberg is on the right wing position today, and he has been immersed in aviation since his infancy. Todd's father, Bill, would take him flying as a kid in the family Taylor craft, unknowingly setting Todd up to become a record-breaking aviator. It was in 2019 that Todd qualified his RV-8 at an astonishing 277 miles an hour at those air races, the national championships in Reno, and setting the record for the fastest ever lap flown in an RV airplane. He's also a physics engineer and played a big role in the development of the Boeing 777 and the 787 Dreamliner. Behind the crowd now, performing what they like to call their shakeout. A little bit of positive G on the airplane, a little bit of negative G on the airplane, for them to become fully in tune with these high-performance, experimental, home-built machines. Capable of over 200 miles an hour and a very economical 7 to 8 gallons per hour in cruise. We're about to see a display of formation aerobatics as they are cleared inbound behind and to our right. From the right, the smoke is on. Please welcome to our show Stephen Christopher and Todd Redberg. They are the Undaunted Air Show's team. Up and over the top for the big roundhouse formation loop as Stephen Christopher in the lead leads Todd Redberg through this next maneuver, the challenging formation barrel roll. Formation flying, very challenging for those who do it, maintaining position and station throughout the entirety of their formation routine. Todd, on the wing, doesn't dare take his eyes off of Stephen's airplane in the lead. We're going to watch them now as they perform this, the wing over, or the whifferdale maneuver, as they trade some altitude for airspeed and work their way back inbound from our left towards show center. We're going to watch now to the left as they ease the sticks back into their laps as they perform this, yet another vertical formation loop. Flying just a few feet apart, let's put our hands together for the Undaunted Air Show's team. Just the beginning of this high-tempoed aerobatic sequence. The Undaunted Air Show's team's inspiration actually stems from a deep-rooted history of formation flying, initially developed in World War I to maximize combat efficiency. Formation flying has since become a staple of military aviation, serving many strategic and tactical purposes. We're going to watch now for the bottom-up pass as they work their way to the back stretch of the aerobatic box as they set up for a maneuver they like to call the switchblade. Cameras at the ready, and there's the cross. From the left, Stephen Christopher. From the right, Todd Redberg, as they are now approaching show center with a closure rate of some 400 miles an hour. Let's watch as they call tally-ho and watch for the cross. One of the most challenging parts of any formation routine is gluing it all back together as we watch Stephen now to our left and Todd in the extended trail formation as they use geometry, airspeed, and altitude to quickly rejoin into this two-ship element. It is the flight leader's job to fly the formation and to fly it well, flying the formation as one, being deliberate and smooth on the controls. The wingman's job to remain symmetrical, and of course Todd doing quite a bit of continual control inputs in order to maintain station on the leader. Performing this now, another wing over maneuver to our left. We're going to watch as Stephen and Todd approach once again as they set up this time for this, the vertical split. The Vans RV line of aerobatic and experimental sport aircraft considered to be that of total performance. Stevens RV-7, named Margarita, took its first flight in 2010, while Todd's RV-8, named that of Undaunted, was completed in 2019 using parts from a previous aircraft built with his father. Powered by the Lycoming IO 390 engine, producing about 250 horsepower, the airplanes have an impressive power-to-weight ratio and are capable of speeds of some 200 miles an hour. Completing their Cuban loop rejoin, as they like to call it, we watch them now as they continue in this formation routine with yet another vertical formation loop as they now work to swap wings as Todd Rudberg in number 2 transitions from the wing position to the extended trail, flying just a few feet apart. Let's take a look. And exiting the in-trail loop for an Undaunted Air Show signature they like to call the Mr. Twister, as they now work their way off to Air Show left. How about a big round of applause, everybody, for the Undaunted Air Show's team? The in-trail formation once again as they follow one another up and over into this half cubit 8 maneuver. Watch as they perform a 5/8 loop and look for the 180-degree roll right there back to upright flight. These guys using just about every inch of the aerobatic airspace out there as they continue with this continuous positive G performance, continuous pull on the stick as they work their way up and over the top. Undaunted Air Shows is proud to be supported by Lycon Aircraft Engine, a trusted name in the high-performance aviation power business. Based in Visalia, California, Lycon provides engines from everything from everyday family aircraft to record-breaking air show machines. Their expertise is evident in Todd's RV-8, which he later achieved its historic Reno air race record thanks to the power and precision of a Lycon-tuned Lycoming motor. In this next sequence of maneuvers, we watch as they actually swap positions here as Steven flies the wing and Todd flying lead as they keep it going all the way through. The Vans RV-7 and RV-8 that we're seeing today, an early design in the RV series. The first RV-1 being produced back in 1965. And since that time, these aircraft, designed originally by Richard Van Groosman, have become some of the most popular amateur-built airplanes in the history of aviation. Some 11,000 plus Vans aircraft are flying around the world today. Up and over for another vertical split as we set up for some more opposition passes. We're going to watch to the right as Todd Rudberg in the orange RV-8 approaches, and from the left, Stephen Christopher in the red RV-7 as they approach show center once again. And rejoining from the Clover Loop back down to Air Show left. Let's again put our hands together for the Undaunted Air Show's team. The entirety of this performance, there's 5 separations, 4 head-to-head opposition passes, 30 overhead maneuvers, and some 2 lead changes. No other air show team anyplace. We've seen this much going on at any given time, and they take a great deal of pride in doing such. Stephen and Todd would like to extend a very big thank you to the Aviation Nation Air Show team for the invitation to fly for you this weekend, and to the great people of Las Vegas and Nevada for their outstanding hospitality as well. For the 2025 Aviation Nation Air Show here at Nellis Air Force Base, they've been cleared to land. Let's put our hands together for Stephen Christopher and Todd Rudberg. They are the Undaunted Air Show's team.
One of my favorite parts after we had taxied and we're at the end of the runway is when Thunderbird 1 says, "Burners now," and that's how you know, like, it's about to go down. And you just feel the jet starting to accelerate and just go down the runway. And I just kept on probably yelling in my pilot's ear, like, oh my gosh, we're going. And just probably saying, like, wow, because then I saw the ground immediately start getting smaller and smaller. And the first maneuver that we did, because I was in a practice show as my fan flight, was the loop on takeoff. And that felt insane to feel that force on me right away as the first maneuver was. It was awesome. It was a roller coaster, but better, because then I don't get a stomach-dropping feeling afterwards. Flying is what everybody sees, is the flying, the jets, the tight blue suits. But I would say that's actually second to my favorite part of being a Thunderbird. My favorite part is the people. It's the team. Our teammates, we have such a unique bond because we spend so much time together. I mean, 270 days on the road. You overcome all these challenges and you gain all these memories together that I don't believe you'll get in any other unit.
Welcome back into Broadcast Central here, day 2 of this Aviation Nation Air Show live from Las Vegas, Nevada, Nellis Air Force Base. Dan Hawkins, Caitlin Jones-Martin. We are having a great time. The home of the Air Force Thunderbirds, and like she said, we're about ready to get going again all day long with flying here at Nellis.
Absolutely, and we're so excited since I am the resident token Thunderbird fangirl. I love what Captain Vecchio said in that package about the tight blue suits. My husband was a Thunderbird, so still fits in his Thunderbird suit. I'll just say that. I'm so excited to welcome Thunderbird 10 Captain Jan Vecchio to the show. And also she brought along our good friend, our good buddy, Tech Sergeant Cody Coker, who hung out with us yesterday. Had so much fun, he decided to come back. Welcome,
Absolutely.
Both, to the show. Captain Vecchio, I'll start with you. Just tell us a little bit about Thunderbird 10. What does Thunderbird 10 do for the team?
Oh man, what do I not do? No, just kidding. I describe it to people like I'm the general project manager of the team. For the military folk out there, you understand that I would be leading the personnel programs and the commander support staff, everything from in-processing, out-processing, managing people's performance appraisals. But then when it comes to the air show, every single person still has a job outside from what you would think an executive officer usually does in a unit. I am the backup range safety observer, backup narrator. Currently, since it is my first season on the team, you'll find me mirroring or signaling to the pilots where show center is, so they know right where they should be hitting the crowd when they come above us.
Wow, so it's really technical. I mean, it's not just your normal average 9 to 5 job of, oh, I'm the executive officer, I'm going to manage this, I'm going to manage that. It's also, I've got to do all that, and I'm also part of the show.
Yes, I am. Especially since I've done executive officer before. That's actually one of the requirements for this position is you either had to be an executive officer at the group or the wing level. I've done both. And so when I first applied for the job, I was like, oh yeah, executive officer, I've done this before. If anything, it's just more of a front-facing public platform, and I've done recruiting before, so I love both those jobs. Let's get after it. And then when I got into the team, and even as I was shadowing my predecessor, I was like, man, it's much more than that. Like, we are really immersed in the mission. And yes, the air show and the jets is what people see up close. It's what brings the crowds to the air shows. But then there's 130 people in the background really making it happen. And it just gives me so much pride every day to put on this uniform and be a part of it all.
130 members in the background making it happen is Tech Sergeant Coker. Remind us a little bit about what it is that you do for the team, sir.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm the team's recruiting liaison. So it's my job to make sure that when we're going out to these show sites that we're engaging with the communities. We go to school visits, and Captain Vecchio, she comes to school visits with us as well. She does a really good job of inspiring these kids. But we also do STEM events, also the enlistment ceremony that we saw yesterday. I coordinated all that. And then we do Pet the Jets as well, where we'll bring organizations out to actually give them a tour of the jets. Just doing our part to engage with the communities while we're there to help with the recruiting efforts as much as we possibly can.
So when you think about the Thunderbirds show, and obviously you're here in Las Vegas, your hometown, so a lot of folks locally at least may go, oh, well, we see the Thunderbirds all the time. What would you tell even somebody who's seen you a lot of times about your show and maybe what's so unique about it?
Well, one of my favorite parts that even though I grew up down the street, I didn't really come to Nellis, let alone it didn't really dawn on me that the Thunderbirds were stationed here unless you live north of the Strip, really, because I'm a Southwest Vegas type girl, and I went to school in Henderson, and then I went to high school in the Southwest region. So unless you knew someone in the military or you were somehow associated with maybe some programs for the military, there's no reason to really come to this part of town. I would say what makes the experience now different from any other Air Force Base or even any other air show that I've been to is that human connection that we're able to offer people, right? The fact that we're the last performance of the day, there's no excuse for us to not be walking around, taking pictures. And that's what really makes it special for me, especially as a local, is it's seeing the light in the kids' eyes when I give them a handshake or a fist bump, and even their families reminding us that what we do is important too, and just that inspiration piece. So I would say that's the special part of just actually coming out here and experiencing it in person.
Two-way inspiration. It's really cool.
It is. And they inspire me too every day.
Yeah.
It is really cool to, walk around an air show and see, we kind of become, I wouldn't say numb to it, but you get accustomed to being like on an Air Force base, around the jets, seeing the cool stuff. And it almost like re-blues you to see like that sense of wonder in their eyes. So Sergeant Coker, I know you're not a Vegas local. You are from Georgia, if I remember correctly.
That is correct. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What kind of led you to want to join the Air Force? We've been kind of asking people about their personal like Air Force story.
Yeah.
What kind of led you to join the Air Force?
So growing up in Georgia, we were about an hour away from Robins Air Force Base. My dad was a reservist, and he was an F-15 crew chief. My grandfather was an F-4 crew chief. I have it tattooed on my arm here. And so just hearing the stories from my grandfather and my grandmother about all the travel they did and all the work on the jets they did. My grandfather was at Edwards Air Force Base back when they were doing a lot of testing on fighter aircraft. So just hearing some of the stories that he told, and then, of course, getting to travel with my dad a little bit, it was always there. And then I can remember a specific time when I was 6 years old. My dad took me to an air show at Robins Air Force Base, and I saw the Thunderbirds, and it just blew my mind. I mean, it was a sight like no other. There's nothing I'd ever seen before. So that goes back to what we do here. It is important for the adults. I think they enjoy it too. But when I see those kids out there, it makes me think of myself, and I'm like, this is what we do. Like, this is, inspiring these kids, and maybe someday they'll join the Air Force as well. You never know.
Yeah, my dad was in the Navy, and the first time I saw an aerial demonstration team, it was, of course, the Blue Angels. Your friends, right? Your friends.
Absolutely.
You know them quite well. But I remember how inspiring that was. So, Sergeant Coker, can you maybe talk to somebody who is going, hey, this sounds pretty cool. I might like to get some more information. How do they do that? How does someone who's interested in the Air Force get more information about the Air Force?
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're interested in joining the Air Force, definitely do some research. Airforce.com is your one-stop shop for everything you need to know about the Air Force, whether it be joining as an officer, joining enlisted. All of our career fields are on there, and it gives a good description of those career fields. I will tell you, don't go on Reddit, because you will see some bad stuff. You get some bad apples that want to tell bad stories and stuff. But, coming to the Air Force with an open mind, make of it what you will, and try to have the best experience, that your own personal experience. Don't try to live somebody else's experience. Let that affect you from joining. But yeah, airforce.com is the place to go. From there, you can get in touch with a recruiter, and that recruiter can talk with you about all the requirements, about testing, about getting physically qualified, and then about getting a contract and jobs to eventually become a member of our team.
As we watch some of our civilian acts doing aerial acrobatics out here in the air above the Vegas Valley. Captain Vecchio, it's kind of different on the officer side of the house when we joined. So you being a Las Vegas native, were you a military brat? How did you come to be in the Air Force, ma'am?
Well, I actually had two older cousins who attended the United States Air Force Academy, and when the older of the two brothers was graduating, his mom, my aunt, reached out to my parents. They were like, oh, Jan should come out and see his graduation. I didn't end up going. But fast forward a couple months later, and I was entering my junior year of high school, and so the Air Force Academy was already kind of buzzing around my household, and my aunt and my uncle kind of put in my parents' ear, like, it's a free education. I have a job right afterwards. It's a pretty prestigious school to go to, and so should highly consider. I, for one, was I wanted to go to UNLV and UNR, and there's nothing wrong with those schools now that I look back on it. But, I put my name in the hat, joined the Air Force to go to the Air Force Academy. I didn't get picked up my first time. I actually went to the Air Force Academy Preparatory School, and looking back, I have no regrets. I can't imagine what my life would be like if I didn't go to the academy. Met my spouse while I was there, made some lifelong friendships that I just can't imagine. And what I tell students who are interested or maybe on the fence about whether they should go to ROTC or the academy, I tell them the end result is going to be the same if you want to become a commissioned officer in any branch of service. But of course, I'm a little biased. Well, I do preface that with I don't know any other experience. Although going to a normal college and university and doing the ROTC route does sound really fun. But I will say that the bonds that I formed at the academy are uncomparable, because I graduated with 900 to 1,000 classmates who, wherever I go around the world or the country, especially now being on the team, I have someone to contact and just have dinner and catch up, and it's really a great community to be a part of.
That's what's great about the Air Force. It's
Exactly.
just a small world when you're in the Air Force, for sure. So, man, that's such a great story. I really appreciate you sharing that.
It's definitely a small Air Force, as everybody says, and having been not on the team, but close to the team and being a huge fan. I was just telling Dan, I still got Thunderbirds merch in my house. I'm like, Russ, come on, babe. I know, of course, about the different number designations, but maybe for somebody, can you tell us about your Thunderbird 10? But what do all those different numbers mean on the team?
Oh, yes. Okay, so Thunderbird, there's 12 officers on the team. Thunderbirds 1 through 6 are the demonstration pilots. They're the ones who you go out, see every day, killing it in the air. 7 and 8 are still pilots by their Air Force specialty code, but number 7 is our operations officer. Thunderbird 1, or boss, he's boss's right-hand man. And then number 8 is our advanced pilot and narrator. 9 is our flight surgeon. 10, that's me. And then 11 is our maintenance officer, and 12 is our public affairs officer.
Love that.
All right.
I mean, that.
We've known a few number 12.
I've known a few TB12s in my day. I'll just say that much. Tech Sergeant Coker, I'm such a fangirl, obviously. I've said it 14,000 times now. How do I join the team? So let's say I'm out there and I'm doing my regular Air Force job. How do I get on the Thunderbirds?
So all of our jobs get posted in MyVector. So we have 31 different career fields on the team, so you do have to be one of those 31 career fields. So unfortunately no POL if there's any POL that wants to join. But yeah, so basically, as you already know, you're a member of the Air Force first. You go into MyVector. If there's a position available for your career field, you can apply for that position. And then what you'll do after that, you'll submit a package with all of your information, and then you'll be interviewed by whichever officer you're going to be working for. So they'll interview a bunch of people and figure out who's going to be the best fit for the team, who they want to add to us, and then you get selected.
What an honor it must be, though. What was that moment like when you found out, I'm just going to be a Thunderbird?
I called my dad right away. I had some friends that used to be on the team. I told them I actually have a friend that used to be the chief on the Thunderbirds, and I called him and his wife. We're good friends with them. I let them know right away. But it blew my mind. And my buddy, the air show that I was talking about when I was 6 that I went to, I had a buddy that went with me. And he's a huge Thunderbirds fan. He's a lineman in Georgia right now. But I called him. I was like, hey, Brett, I'm about to be a Thunderbird, man. And he was like, "You're kidding me!" Like, he could not believe that I was going to be on the Thunderbirds.
That is awesome.
It's an honor, like you said. It is really an honor to be a part of this team.
I love that so much. And I think your dad was actually watching you yesterday. So if you want to go ahead and give a shout out to your dad.
Hey, Mom and Dad, love y'all.
That's awesome. As we take a look at the commemorative Air Force SoCal Warbirds, we are actually in the cockpit there for a second. Such cool shots brought to you by the 2nd Audiovisual Squadron.
Yeah, beautiful sights and sounds. But hey, we know you're busy. We know you got, just a little show to do later. No big deal. Hour and 15 minutes. But thank you so much for dropping by today. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you
so
so
for the
much.
opportunity.
Yeah, anytime. Thank you guys so much. And we are going to go back to our Aviation Nation Air Boss now and watch these commemorative Air Force SoCal Warbirds here at Aviation Nation 2025.
Jays, like the one we're seeing now, was used extensively in the South Pacific to attack enemy shipping bases. They were very popular with their crews. PBJs proved to be rugged, dependable, and lethal. We're going to watch him now from the right to give you a look at what the Japanese would have seen on that fateful day of April 18th, 1942, as the B-25/PBJ Mitchell approaches from the right. Scrambling to engage the PBJ, our simulated A6M0. That's flown by the AT-6 Texan today as the Hellcat is in hot pursuit. The B-25 Mitchell was an American medium bomber that was introduced in 1941 and was named in honor of Brigadier General William Billy Mitchell, a pioneer in U.S. military aviation. Used by the Allied Air Forces, the B-25 served at every theater of World War II, and after the war ended, many remained in service, operating across some 4 decades. Nearly 10,000 were built. Flying in a high combat air patrol over the PBJ, the Hellcat scanning the skies for trouble, and with the simulated Zero hot on the PBJ's tail, he better find some soon. The PBJ capable of carrying some 3,000 so odd pounds of payload internally. You saw the bomb bay doors open. Intercepting our simulated Zero is that of the F-6F Hellcat, powered again by that Pratt & Whitney R2800 double wasp 18-cylinder radial engine. It was armed to the teeth with 6 50 caliber machine guns, each with 400 rounds of ammunition for a total of 2,400 bullets. The Hellcat is a large aircraft weighing in at over some 12,000 pounds, fully combat loaded, but yet had a top speed of 440 miles an hour. Introduced to fleet operations in the fall of 1943, the Hellcat made an immediate and lasting impact to the air war in the Pacific, racking up a 19-to-1 kill ratio, the highest of any fighter during the war. The Hellcat rapidly earned their reputation as the Zero killer in the Pacific theater of operations of World War II. With our simulated Zero engaging the PBJ, the Hellcat in hot pursuit as well as the PBJ works its way around other targets. This particular PBJ was completed in March of 1940 to the U.S. Navy as Bureau number 35857 and underwent conversion from a B-25 to a PBJ. After serving with the Naval Special Weapons Division on the East Coast, this aircraft was stricken from the Navy's inventory in 1947 and purchased that summer by the St. Louis Flying Service. After going through some 12 different owners, it was restored to flying condition in 1981 and purchased by the Commemorative Air Force in 1985. It is painted today in the colors of VMB 611, Fixed Wing Marine Corps Bombing Squadron 611. Marauding across the South Pacific at low altitude, PBJs and their Army Air Force B-25 brethren obtained the nickname of that of treetop terrors from their Japanese adversaries. Many low-altitude strafing modifications to the aircraft were tested and made in the field and resulted in a lethal combination of forward-firing ordnance in addition to a very effective bomb load. We're going to continue to watch now as the aircraft approach from the right. Another strafing pass towards show center and a great pass in review for your cameras here today. From the SoCal wing of the Commemorative Air Force, from the right, the Warbirds.
The North American AT-6 Texan coming by, our simulated Zero.
It was the Japanese Zero that gained instant fame and fear early on in the war for its incredible maneuverability and long range. It was next to revolutionary when it was first encountered by Allied fighters, who quickly learned that using traditional dogfighting tactics against the Zero ended in a losing fight for the Allies. The Zero was very lightly constructed, which gave it a great turning performance, but later in the war proved to be a disadvantage. The aircraft today is being flown by John Inglesby and our F-6F Hellcat, being flown by Rob Lips-Hertberg. In an aerial salute to all of our military members, both past and present. The aircraft are now repositioning for a photo pass from your right. Get your cameras ready as these iconic vintage aircraft approach show center. Again from the right, from the Southern California wing of the Commemorative Air Force, the PBJ and the F-6F Hellcat. No one does it better. Let's put our hands together for the members of the Commemorative Air Force. As our aircraft continue to work their way around, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce the pilots to you. The PBJ being flown today by Mike Donut Hulls and Rogan Fogel. Donut got his start flying in aviation and joined the U.S. Air Force, where he flew the A-10 Thunderbolt II, racking up an impressive 2,100 hours in the famed tank killer, and participated in combat operations over Bosnia. In addition to the PBJ, he's also checked out in many of the Wings aircraft, including the Hellcat, their Zero, which unfortunately couldn't be with us this weekend due to some maintenance issues, and of course the Spitfire Mark 14. He is leading the flight in again from the left, cameras at the ready. What a magnificent sight that is. Mike Holes is joined today by Roland Vogel. He has a long aviation career and started as a hobby, working his way up in the LAPD chain of command, retiring as a distinguished servant of the community. He has also been a pilot for several major airlines and will soon be checking out in the Wings AT-6 Texan. And our Hellcat today being flown by Robert Lips Hertberg. Lips, a former F-16 driver in the Air Force, and was bitten by the Warbird bug actually while attending this very air show at Nellis Air Force Base many years ago. He's checked out in the SoCal Zero, their F-8F Bearcat, and will soon be flying their Spitfire Mark 14. He works as a defense consultant and lives here in Las Vegas, Nevada. The aircraft are now positioning from our right for their final pass and landing. The SoCal wing of the Commemorative Air Force is honored to be part of this iconic air show here at Nellis. Based out of Camarillo, the Commemorative Air Force SoCal wing is one of just several CAF units across the country. The Commemorative Air Force, or CAF, is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to honor American military aviation through flight, exhibition, and remembrance. More than just a collection of airworthy warplanes from the past, the CAF's fleet of historic aircraft, known as the Ghost Squadron, recreate, remind, and reinforce the lessons learned, the defining moments in military aviation history. To learn more and perhaps join this all-volunteer network of aviation enthusiasts, you can stop by the CAF SoCal aircraft here today at the hot ramp and speak with the team. You can also visit CAF SoCal online and on social media at CAF SoCal. As they work to recover in front of us, please know that we do not fly these airplanes to glorify war, but rather to remember the sacrifices by our veterans and to tell their stories. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in saluting our American heroes, our veterans today, who have helped preserve the freedoms that we know of them. As they make their landings, a big round of applause for our Warbird pilots, Mike Holes, Roland Vogel, John Inglesby, and Rob Hertberg, the SoCal wing of the Commemorative Air Force. Always a great sight to see these magnificent Warbirds up in the air where they belong. Well, as they recover, it is now time for more air power action as we welcome next to our show from the United States Navy, the Boeing FA-18 Super Hornet. We are very pleased to welcome today the West Coast Rhino demonstration team from Strike Fighter Squadron 122, based at Naval Air Station Lemoore in California. Today, flown by the demonstration pilots and instructors of Strike Fighter Squadron 122, the Flying Eagles, they will demonstrate the full flying capabilities of the FA-18. On behalf of the United States Navy, Naval Air Station Lemoore, and the commander of Strike Fighter Wing Pacific, and the commanding officer of Strike Fighter Squadron 122, we are proud to present the West Coast FA-18 Super Hornet flight demonstration. Intended to replace the retired F-14 Tomcat and the aging Legacy Hornets, the Boeing-built FA-18 Super Hornet is the Navy's frontline tactical aircraft. Known as the Rhino, the Super Hornet builds on a combat-proven design of the original Hornet, with improvements such as a 30% larger surface area, larger payload, longer range, and increased weapons lethality. The aircraft performing for you today is the F model, which incorporates a two-seat cockpit to accomplish all phases of the assigned mission. During today's demonstration, Lieutenant Commander John Miskovac and also that of Lieutenant Robert Dolan, call signs Mac and Mac, will demonstrate the incredible flying characteristics of the Super Hornet. During today's demonstration, they will experience G-forces from -3 to up to 8 times the normal force of gravity, and today's show will be performed at speeds as fast as 700 miles an hour and as slow as 100 miles an hour. Very shortly, you will hear and experience the raw power of 2 General Electric F414 engines, producing 44,000 pounds of combined thrust. The Super Hornet is the Navy's frontline tactical aircraft, and in conjunction with other carrier-borne assets, accomplishes the assigned mission to support the carrier air wing and America's interests. Ladies and gentlemen, on the takeoff roll, please welcome Lieutenant Commander Miskovac and also that of Lieutenant Dolan and your United States Navy's FA-18 Super Hornet. Mac and Mac will now reposition for the dirty roll. Watch as they slow down to less than 200 miles an hour from our left and will deploy the landing gear and flaps. Watch as they approach show center in the landing configuration. As they approach center point, they'll pitch up and roll the aircraft some 360 degrees with the landing gear still extended. Inbound from the left, the Super Hornet and the dirty roll.